Coming to you live from the Podbooth Studios in Adelaide, South Australia, it's Hacker Trivia. And now introducing the electronically talented, mechanically minded, he's more machine than man now, your magnanimous host, Lewin Day!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first inaugural Hacker Trivia at Remoticon. I'm Lewin Day, I'm your host, and I'm joined by the wonderfully talented and relatively smart science communicator, Justin. How are we doing, Justin?
Oh, spectacular. Looking forward to just some good, wholesome family quizzing today. I'm hoping it's a family show. And we're just having a very friendly time. Looking forward to seeing everyone's answers in and responses in the Discord as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just tuning in on YouTube, what we're doing today is we are doing pub trivia. If you're watching this stream, you are definitely allowed to play. All you have to do to play our little pub trivia game today is look in the description of the YouTube video and bring up the Google form for round one. Now, you do have to use the same email address throughout the game, and otherwise we're not going to be able to track your scores and see if you beat everyone with your knowledge of hacker topics. Very important. So basically, look down in the YouTube description, get those Google Forms open, start talking to your teammates if you have them, and get ready for some fun quizzing action. I think it's going to be a tight contest today, Justin. How are you feeling?
I mean, I think we'll have to obviously hear the questions to see exactly where the lines will be drawn, but I'm very excited, to see a good, as I said, wholesome competition, friendly competition, but also vicious and nasty.
I'm definitely hoping for a bit of biffo between the contestants, and I think it could get pretty tight towards the end today. We've got 4 rounds today, and we're going to kick it off with round 1. Are you ready for this, Justin?
I think we are.
Absolutely ready myself. All right, so let's bring it up on the screen. Question 1. Who took her husband's prototype car for a joyride, proving that it was roadworthy and ultimately saving the project? Who took her husband's car out for a joyride, prototype car, took it out, took a bit of a spin, and proved that the car was actually pretty darn good? Any ideas who this might have been? Friend of yours, Justin, maybe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my friend Dolores,
she's a scamp.
She did it. I reckon. I mean, she's told me that. So if she's misleading me, then that is entirely on her and not on me, a professional.
Yeah, I think it might not be Dolores, but it could be. If you want to put Dolores in as your answer to question 1, more than welcome to. I probably wouldn't do that myself.
Intriguing. Okay, I guess, intelligent minds differ.
Yeah. So, question 2, moving on right away. Question 2. Now, this one goes out to a few of the hackers, few of the makers. What do you call a robot hand made out of a balloon, coffee beans, and a vacuum? Now, we're not talking about a vacuum of space, probably talking about like a vacuum cleaner, something generated by a vacuum pump. But what do you call a robot gripper or a robot hand made out of a balloon, coffee beans, and a vacuum?
A good time. Am I right?
Yeah. That's what I call it. It was actually written on my card. That was my joke. I'm really glad I gave.
Your joke?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm really glad I gave you the crib notes there because I've been sniped already.
No. We've independently come up with the same joke.
Well, my hiring choices for the producer notwithstanding.
Little peek behind the scenes there.
Peek behind the scenes. These cards are not cheap to make. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into these people.
Oh, yeah. This is a tight ship we're running here, folks.
Absolutely the tightest. But yes, what do we call that robot gripper, my friends? What do we call it? Robot hand made of a balloon, coffee beans, and a vacuum. Justin's going to have to compose himself, and he's going to have to bring up question 3 for us on the screen.
I will meditate, and I will get to it.
Have you actually? Oh, there we go.
Have.
Question 3. Wonderful. Now, this is a bit of an interesting one. Bit of physics here. This titan of computer science used to hold up an 11.8-inch piece of wire during talks to illustrate the length of a nanosecond. Length of a nanosecond. Titan of computer science used to hold up a piece of wire about yay big, size Justin will be familiar with, and used to use that to illustrate the length of a nanosecond.
And I'm sure many titans of computer science are in the chat today. So I'm excited to hear from everyone that's just putting themselves down as the answer.
Yep.
That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, definitely a very, very interesting and very unique presentation tool, and one that absolutely, from someone who was an absolute titan in their field. I'm going to say titan probably not too many more times today, but, it's a good word. We do enjoy saying it.
Shall we move to question 4?
We covered a story earlier this year about a group in a German town that used horses, Justin. They're animals that walk on 4 legs, bit taller than you or I. And these animals were used to transport some data carrying a flash drive. And they actually were faster carrying a 4.5 gigabyte file than the local internet connection. Now, that's a little bit embarrassing for the local ISPs, but regardless, it was an example of how you could beat the internet just by trucking around some data in physical form. There's a famous quote from Andrew Tannenbaum in 1981 who said, "You should never underestimate the bandwidth of a station wagon full of tapes on a highway." You just load up the boot and you're moving terabytes at a time, even in the early 90s. But regardless, what is the concept of transferring data by shipping or carrying a data storage device? This is colloquially known as what? So when we put data on tape or hard drive or a USB drive, and then we carry that from place to place instead of using a network, what do we call this? What is that? What is that called? What do we refer to this as? Any ideas? Please don't say them, actually, because we don't want... Yeah.
I don't want to give away all the answers that I definitely know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think there's a fair few people scrambling to enter in. There's probably a few Hackspace teams bickering about what the correct answer is, but I think a fair few people in the Hackaday community, the Hackatariat, as I like to call it, I think they'll probably get that one. We've got a big mix today of questions, hard ones, easy ones, and, we want to include everyone, but we also want to be able to split the pack. But regardless, drum roll, please. Can we get a drum roll?
Oh, a drum roll.
Can we get a drum roll? Can we get a drum roll?
We've got a drum roll.
We've got a drum roll. I can't hear the drum roll, but I'll take your word for it.
No, we've got a drum roll.
We've got a drum roll. All right, last question. Last question of round 1. Question 5. Question 5. This complex analog computer was found by sponge divers in the Aegean Sea in 1901. Good sea, the Aegean Sea. Underrated as a sea. Regardless, sponge divers, diving for sponges, probably had some dishes to do. They found this in 1901. Complicated mechanical
One
device.
of the best seas, I have to say.
Absolutely. Have you been?
No, absolutely not.
It's a dream of mine.
I mean, we can all aspire to visiting the Aegean Sea.
Yeah. Well, it's the old saying goes, from sea to Aegean Sea. All seas lead to the Aegean Sea. And these are all very, very familiar phrases that any hacker would be obviously familiar with. But regardless, this is the end of round 1. We're going to give people some time. Start getting your answers in now because submissions are going to close roughly 30 seconds, I believe, after I stop talking. Something in that ballpark. But I'm just going to vamp here for a minute while our head honcho Mike starts wrangling the score. So get your answers in. You've probably only got about another 20 seconds. Justin, would you be scrambling right now if you were behind a keyboard?
I would be, but luckily I'm not behind any keyboards. I certainly don't have 2 laptops in front of me.
Perhaps behind a different keyboard you might be scrambling, but Justin is not allowed to play, but you are. You are allowed to play Hacker Trivia today with this handsome man and me and the other handsome man on the other camera. Question...
Titans. I think we would say we're titans.
Titans. Titans of the Hacker Trivia scene. Lewin Day and Justin MacArthur here with you people. So how are we doing on the back end? I imagine Mike's probably going to need some time to cook up those scores.
Yeah, I reckon we will wait on an update from Mike, but we don't have the scores just yet.
Excellent. I'm going to trust Mike, and I'm going to assume that
I believe in him.
Submissions are closed.
I'm going to confirm that the submissions are closed.
We're just going to confirm that the submissions are closed, but we're just getting ready to talk about the answers. And you can see why I wouldn't want to reveal those answers to you before submissions are closed. So basically, the format today, we've got 5 questions in the first 3 rounds. You've just finished round 1. We've got 3 more rounds after this. But round 4 is only 3 questions long. So you want to be well out ahead in the end of round 3 because that's going to give you... or give your competitors a much more difficult job to catch you in the final round. So if we've got confirmation submissions are closed.
Submissions are closed, I can confirm, and presumably because of a small amount of delay, they closed a little while ago.
Excellent, wonderful. So let's go through the answers from round 1. So, who took her husband's prototype car for a joyride, proving its roadworthiness, ultimately saving the project? That was Bertha Benz. Basically took out what was essentially one of the very first Benz cars. And obviously Daimler-Benz, Mercedes-Benz have been fantastically successful ever since. I myself drive one, and it's quite a comfortable car.
I am shocked that it isn't Dolores DeLorean.
I'm not even sure that person has ever existed, Justin, but happy for you to believe in that. Question 2. What do you call a robot hand made out of a balloon, coffee beans, and a vacuum? We call this a jamming gripper. The way it actually works is quite ingenious. The balloon is full of coffee grounds, and you push it around an object and then suck all the air out, and the coffee grounds grab it and you can pull it away. It's great for picking up things like eggs and other soft things that are easily damaged. So that's a jamming gripper. Now, depending on what you attach that jamming gripper to, Justin, that could indeed be a good time, couldn't it?
Oh, that's a funny joke.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, you can have that one for free. All right, the Titan of computer science from question 3. The Titan of computer science is Grace Hopper, who used to cut 11.8 inches of wire and use that as a demonstration of how far light can travel in a nanosecond. Very important with regards to things like semiconductor design of integrated circuits and processors, because light can only move so far in a vacuum and nothing can move, well, faster than that. Pretty straightforward. And Grace Hopper was a very intelligent woman who knew that and demonstrated it with a piece of wire. She did good. Now, question 4. The concept of transferring data by carrying it around. Any guesses now, Justin, that the stakes are lower?
I mean, I send all my data by carrier pigeon, so...
Well, that would be a great example of this concept, which is the sneaker net. The idea being that if you're carrying data from one place to another on a hard drive or a flash drive, you're walking using your sneakers. It's also called a boot net or a clog net, depending on the footwear you're wearing. Basically, some people like to wear treads or other types of shoes for better grip in the rain, but regardless, the concept is really just called the sneaker net, and that's what we were looking for. If you did put clog net on, though, I hope you got a bonus point, but you probably didn't. And finally, question 5. This complex analog computer found by sponge divers in the AGNC, 1901, that would be the anti-Kythera mechanism, which is one of the coolest names for anything I've heard in a while.
Yeah, it's spectacular. I did think it was an iPod Nano.
Absolutely. Now, while we wait for those scores, we're going to take a little break. We have a treat for you here. This is some lovely musical stylings from Hackaday alumnus Richard Hogben. Absolutely top-notch stuff. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to be back to you with the scores in just a couple minutes. Let's go.
go. We're back.
We're back. All right, you're back with the slightly cringe but very fun, I like to think so, Lewin Day. Justin, do we have some scores for round one? Who we got today?
I mean, we've got an incredible, just a great number of entries. I'm very happy. So I'm not going to be able to read off every single one of them. Maybe I can give us, we actually currently have, let me just count that up. That is 9 different entries in second place.
Wow. So how many people total are playing today?
We have, let me just do a quick count. We have 37 entries.
37 entries, all right, and we have 9 people in second place. So give me the crib notes. What are the scores looking like? Who's leading?
We have, in first place, it is a tie between, and I'm just going to read these as written, Nate/myself and James Newton, both on 5 points.
Wonderful.
Then in, I guess, equal third, we have Drew Alden, I Dream in Code, Just Me and the Dog, Sprite_TM.
Hey, legend.
MLP, Team CowlFam09, Llamas Without Hats, Very Quiet Bad Times Gang, Horrible Newbie. And that is the list.
Who's bringing up the rear, by the way?
That's currently yet to score. We have In, I think that's what it is, INNE. Super Duper Hooper Trooper.
Super Duper Hooper Trooper.
Super Duper Hooper Trooper. And Jackalope Army, all yet to score.
Magnificent. All right, well, we're going to hope they can bring some
points. Yeah,
we're going to hope they can get some scores on the board shortly. And they should be able to find round 2 a little easier. At the same time, we don't want you to be able to Google these too easily, so we're going to ramp up the pace just a little bit. You ready, Justin? Can I get question 6, please?
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's bring up
question 6. What was the clock speed of the original Xbox? Microsoft console, talking about the clock speed of the original Microsoft Xbox. Oscillator in there, running the clock. How fast was it?
Okay, so I saw this on the Hackaday Twitter feed. You call oscillators oscillators.
Yes, it's a regional dialect.
Uh-huh. What region?
Northwestern Adelaide.
Well, I'm from Semaphore, and I've never heard anyone use the phrase oscillator.
Oh, not from Semaphore, no. It's more of an Alberton expression.
I see.
All right, question 7. Calvin Harris composed his debut studio album using which home computer? Home computer. Composed the whole album on it. Became relatively famous afterwards.
I should bring that question up, shouldn't I?
You certainly should. Question 7. Calvin Harris produced his first studio album on which computer? Question 8. Wasn't kidding. We're going to ramp up the speed here because I don't think our scoring team are working hard enough. I'm kidding.
We've got to.
They're lovely. They're working very hard.
No, stick the boot in. Absolutely. All right. Let's get them.
Where would you find an acoustic coupler? Question 8. Where would you find an acoustic coupler? By the way, I am contractually bound to remind you that you should be on the round 2 Google form.
Yes.
Again, in the YouTube
Separate
description.
Google forms.
Separate Google forms for each round. Yep. So in the round 2 Google form, which you can find in the YouTube description. Question 8. If we can get question 8 up.
Oh, question
Justin,
8.
That would be magnificent. Where would you find...
Sorry, I'm looking at about 3 or 4 different things.
You are hustling immensely. Where would you find an acoustic coupler? And I nearly read out the answer, but I specifically color-coded those so I wouldn't.
This is why you are the presenter and I am the lackey behind the many screens.
Even better, I almost read the wrong answer. So that would have been great. So yeah, where would you find an acoustic coupler? You ready for question 9? Can I get question 9, please?
Oh, you want question 9 on the screen behind you?
Yes, please, sir. All right, question 9.
Let's do it.
Now, this is a very cool person, similar to Rich Hogben, who gave us that lovely musical interlude. A performer at the DEF Cons in recent history, almost all of them in recent history, which DJ also headlined the Hackaday Supercon Saturday Night Party 2017, 2018, and 2019. Who was it? DJ, very cool, I'm told. Who headlined the Hackaday Supercon Party on the Saturday 2017, 2018, and 2019? All right, moving on. Last question, round 2. Told you we were hustling. Round 2.
Speed round, absolutely. Let's go.
To get to the moon, to get there, the Apollo guidance computers used what for memory? What do they use? DDR4? Probably not. Maybe. DDR3, Justin, perhaps.
Oh, I know plenty about this. I thought they used pen and paper.
Yeah. Oh, well,
just
brains.
good old fashioned, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Back before these, millennials with their dang phones.
Indeed. All right. Now, as I said, round 2, we're going pretty quickly. So get your submissions in very shortly. We're going to be closing those in about 30 seconds to maybe 45, depending on how it all goes down. But you don't want to be left out in the cold. Perhaps that's what actually happened to our teams in round 1.
I would say so, yeah. I would say that it is all of those frozen computers.
Other than that, they maybe just didn't know any of the answers. But regardless, we are closing submissions.
No, couldn't possibly be.
No, any second now. Justin, how did you feel about round 2? Quick, terrifying, horrifyingly fast.
I would say that I'm fearful, and I'm fearful for our contestants, and I'm glad I'm not playing, frankly. I mean, well, shocking.
I'm glad I'm not playing because it wouldn't be very
Yikes.
fun because I already know all the answers.
That's true.
It's very true. But regardless, that is round 2. Submissions should now be closed. Can I get a confirmation of that from up top, please?
I will have that to you as soon as I can.
Now, we'd like to thank you all for joining us today with the Hackaday Hacker Trivia. I'd like to personally thank our big boss in the sky, Mike, for putting all this together. It's absolutely wondrous joy to come out here and basically try to have some fun with the community while also being relatively competitive and having them at each other's throats as they try to win nothing but the glory of being the first ones to win Hacker Trivia in the first place. But regardless, I'm having a great time. I think Justin's having a great time. And he's also looking at about 3 monitors and a phone. And we've even got a video crew here running everything as we desperately try to manage the influx of answers flooding our computers. But regardless, submissions are now closed. So we will go ahead and read the answers.
Yes, let's go back and read, answers from round 2.
Wonderful. All right. So, question 6. What was the clock speed of the original Xbox? 733 megahertz oscillator in the Xbox. Question 7. Calvin Harris composed his debut studio album on an Amiga 1200 using Octamed, I believe, the famous tracker software, now largely superseded in the community, but regardless, an absolutely groundbreaking piece of software and a wonderful home computer that pretty much spelled the near end of the Amiga line. Question 8. Where would you find an acoustic coupler? That's those rubber cups they used to have for attaching your phone handset to a modem, because phone companies in the 1980s didn't tend to like people putting unauthorized equipment on their network. So rather than connecting your modem directly to the phone line, you had to use a speaker and a microphone and an acoustic coupler to blast the noise into the handset manually. Thankfully that changed, because that honestly was just not a good solution. Now, the performer that headlined the Hackaday Supercon for question 9 was Miss Jackalope. I believe she's playing the Saturday night party again this year for Remoticon. Wonderful to have her on board. And question 10, to get to the moon, the Apollo guidance computers used what for memory? Any ideas, Justin? Justin isn't sure.
Justin isn't sure. Justin is currently getting back in contact with Mike.
Wonderful, because we do want to hear from Mike.
But
first, we are going to take another little break. Again, Richard Hogben is going to bring us those wonderfully fat tunes. So we're going to see you on the other side of this break. Get ready for the scores from round 2 and big old round 3. Here we go. And we are back, and we have some exciting news. We have the scores from round 2. All right, Justin, please tell us how these magnificent people are doing on the combat that is Hacker Trivia.
I'm going to read every single score on the sheet from bottom to top. In last place currently, yet to score, in 46th place.
We've got more players now.
We've got more players now as of this round. So in last place yet to score is Rosenkrantz with 0. Then in equal 39th, I love that the spreadsheet gives me this. In equal 39th with 1 point, we have Robot Overlord, Michael K, Minard, Boris, Inner, Super Duper Hooper Trooper, and Mr. and Mrs. Short Fat Bald Guy. In 34th place with 2 points apiece, we have Salek, Denzas, $15 Cheese Plate, Pseudo Legit, and Nathan Cohagen. Those are all on 2 points.
Wonderful people.
Now it's starting to heat up as we move up the rankings.
Getting warmer.
We've got the 3 point getters in equal 25th.
The Musketeers.
We have Hell Dogify, Name is Undefined, Randy Glenn, I Shot Jr., Robert, asterisk, close bracket, semicolon, drop table, teams,
Good try, Robert.
dash, dash.
Love it.
Good try, Robert.
Yeah.
Dub G, Jackalope Army, off the mark there, Jackalope Army, Bit Looney and Friend, and Dub G is coming up twice. So in equal 17th place with 4 points, we have
Equal 17th.
Equal 17th. 4 points apiece. Very Jaded, Neb K, Type 11 Error, Lost Cause, Paul McClay, Flummer, MLP, and Horrible Newbie.
I don't think they're that bad.
Hey, we've got some applause. On 5 points, equal 12th, we have Waffle Human. I don't know what that is in Morse code off the top of my head, but the team name is in Morse code. Rajigger, Kenny Trussell, Very Quiet Bad Times Gang. In equal 10th with 6 points, we have Team Calfamo 9, Drew Olden. In equal 5th place with 7 points apiece. Just Me and the Dog, Yes We Can, I Dream in Code, The Orb 2, Nicholas Tremblay. And in the lead currently, we have a four-way tie.
Four-way tie for the lead.
With 8 points apiece. No one with a perfect score at this point. 8 out of 10, the best so far. The score to beat. We have James Newton, Sprite_TM, Nate / myself, and Llamas Without Hats.
Llamas Without Hats, Nate Silver, a couple other people. I'm not good at remembering names. But, so it's tied at the top, but keep in mind, we still have 8 points to play for, so Super Duper Hooper could still equally win it.
It could be a tie.
Could be a tie. Yeah, Super Duper Hooper could come all the way from the back if they answer every question correctly. Still all to play for. Absolutely quite tight at the top, only a couple points in it. So really, it's gonna be a close contest.
You got to compete for those points and also sabotage your enemies.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and kick it off in round 3. Round 3 is a bit of an interesting one. This is where we start to get, a few gaming questions, a few questions about bits and pieces, this and that. Let's go ahead and bring up question 11, please, Justin.
I can do that. It's up.
Wonderful. So, Need for Speed, first released on which console? Were you a bit of a gamer in the 90s there, Justin?
Oh, such a gamer. I was around for at least some of the 90s, and I gamed for some of it as well.
I did as well. I was not a console gamer in the 90s. Didn't get a console until the first Xbox. Then I got the GameCube. Never did have any of the 90s consoles, sadly, but Need for Speed was released on them.
Does Tamagotchi count as a 90s console?
I don't care because it didn't have Need for Speed.
Whoa, spoilers. Hang on, we're just giving the whole game away at this point.
Okay, yeah, if you put Tamagotchi in, that's the wrong answer. Regardless, that is the question. Which console was Need for Speed first released on? Moving on to question 12. Complete this phrase. This is a fun one.
I like this.
Do not fold, spindle, or blank. It's good general life advice there, you know. I like to think, you know. Maybe it's for poker.
It's
You know,
good advice.
do not fold. You know, if you fold, you lose. If you never fold in poker, you never lose. That's how poker works.
And
right?
do not blank if you're competing in this quiz.
That's the banter right there. Do not blank. You should actually submit answers. You don't want to be down with the zeros down there in joint 39th. Do we? No. You want to be a bit higher on the board, up with the Sprite TMs and the Nate myselfs of the world. Not myself. Yeah. I'm here not competing, but it's
You should
tight
enter
at the
next
top.
year. You should just enter and clean sweep it.
The
Win all the prize money.
The problem is I keep closing submissions to the quiz forms before we have the break. I should actually have the break and then jump over to a laptop, but I'm tied into a microphone here, so not going to happen. So you can beat me because I'm not allowed to play. Neither is Justin.
Only because you're running with ankle weights. We are holding you back.
Yeah, and really, I think I deserve the win.
Yeah.
But Mike thought instead I deserved to present it, and I was happy to do that instead.
We have to defer to Mike, the great and powerful. Absolutely. Oh, hail.
So, question 13. The 4 fundamental components are resistors, capacitors, inductors, and what? So we're not actually looking for all 4. We're looking for the blank, the one at the end. So resistors, capacitors, inductors, and then there's another fundamental component. Some would say it's sour cream if you're making tacos. Could be what we're looking for. Probably isn't. If you're making double stuffed Oreos, another Oreo is one of the essential components, isn't it?
I would say so, yeah. And if you put down Oreos, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not scoring this, or I would give you multiple points.
Thank you. I'm trying very hard to get on the board. But regardless, that is the question. The 4 fundamental components are resistors, capacitors, inductors, and then the one we want you to type in the Google form. So please do type
don't
in the
say
Google
the
form.
4th one. That's important.
No, it's not. Again, because I assembled my cards in a hurry, like a true hacker, last minute. These are all handmade. We don't have a crew for that. I stuck the Q&A sheets on the back of these cards at an angle. The problem with that is, it's not really a problem, but every time I read a question, my mind always wants to go to the answer, but it goes to the wrong one. So I've almost read out the wrong answer to the right question about 6 times now. But my terrible construction techniques have avoided that. But regardless,
and that's why the bodge is the best way to build.
Yeah, bodge is the best way to build. We should get that tattooed.
Absolutely, yeah. I already do. It's a really large. It's actually woven into a dragon. Let's move on to question 14.
Yeah, certainly. If you do
discuss my large dragon back tattoo.
If you do have that tattoo, it is worth a bonus point. Please contact Mike on his home phone number. Regardless,
I'm sure he'd love to hear that.
He absolutely would. Question 14. What might you use a shattered... Excuse me.
Oh.
What might you use a shattered spark plug for? Can you say that 10 times fast?
Shattered spark plug, 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 shattered spark... Nope.
Shattered shark. Regardless, what might you use a shattered spark plug for? You probably wouldn't use it for ignition purposes in your engine. We've got a great series on Hackaday, How Do You Get Into Cars? The writer is a handsome devil of a man, very knowledgeable. And I don't think we've ever talked about spark plugs because they're kind of they're not really the point of the series. But it is a good series. If you've ever wanted to get into cars and don't really know where to start, our series on how to get into cars is a magnificent place. It's one of the many pieces of great original content we have on Hackaday that covers all kinds of topics. We've looked at things from how to get into aerial ballooning, high altitude projects, software stuff, absolutely top to bottom. We even had a great series on building your own synthesizers a few years back, which I believe was by the prominent Elliot Williams.
There we go.
There's a whole lot of great content on there. And as you're probably gathering during the quiz, a lot of these questions are inspired by Hackaday articles or things we've all been thinking about because we've been writing them. Shocking, I know. But regardless, what might you use a shattered spark plug for? That is question 14. Almost read out the answer again, but instead I will go to question 15.
Oh, let's do that instead.
Question 15. The Hackaday logo is fondly known by what nickname?
I love that you've given us a reference on the back of your cards for the Hackaday
logo.
Oh,
it's not going to say what it is. The Hackaday logo right here. There you go. Hackaday logo is right there. What is its nickname? I like to call it the Roundy Boy.
I like to call it Spanner Jones.
Spanner Jones. Well, don't give it away. Come on, Justin. You've got to work with these people.
Oh no!
Question
I'm so sorry.
15. The
That's
Hackaday
embarrassing.
logo is fondly known by what nickname? And not just what you and your mates call it because you don't like it. I think it's a darn handsome logo. What is the commonly agreed upon nickname for the Hackaday logo? All right, so that's question 15. So start getting your answers in now. You should be on the Google form for round 3. You've got to be using the same email address each time round because otherwise we won't be able to track your scores. You'll be down in joint 39th place. You don't want to be all the way down there. You want to be at the top with the Sprite TMs, the Nate / myself, the... who else was up there?
Llamas Without Hats and James Newton.
Yeah, now if
Those
there's a
are the
llama
top
with a
4.
hat keeping their head warm, I mean, they could potentially have even more trivia power. So... absolutely everything still to play for, but we are closing those submissions now. They should be almost closed. And in about 20 seconds, we're going to go to another break. But we just want to make sure you're getting your submissions into the proper round 3 Google form so that you can continue competing in this, the inaugural Hacker Trivia. Hasn't it been wonderful, Justin?
I've been loving it. I hope you at home have been loving it. Please do jump on the Discord and let us know if you've been loving it, because I will probably be taking a look there in between rounds.
And I actually erred. I actually made a mistake. We're not going to a break just yet. We're going to read out the answers first, then we're going to a break.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Well, I hope then that Mike has closed submissions for everyone.
He certainly had long enough. All right. So...
if not, well done. You can get in your submissions really quick right after Lewin.
wonderful. So we don't have a confirmation yet, but I'm going to err on the side of...
Go for it. We've got to go for it.
Wonderful. Go for it from Mike. Big Mike. Thanks, buddy. All right. Question 11. Need for Speed was first released on which console? It was the 3DO. Wasn't the PlayStation. If you thought it was and you rushed to put that in there, well, you did wrong. You should have Googled it. But you didn't. Regardless. Question 12. Complete this phrase. Do not fold, spindle, or mutilate. Commonly written on punch cards from the punch card programming era. The 4 fundamental components of question 13, they are resistors, capacitors, inductors, and memristors. A very modern new component that was regardless theorized a long time ago, but took a very long time for humanity to figure out how to manufacture. Not commonly used just yet, but considered to be a fundamental component of electronics as much as resistors, capacitors, and inductors are. Question 14, what would you use a shattered spark plug for? You could put it on your Weet-Bix, you could have it with dinner, but really you're probably going to use it to smash some windows. The very hard ceramic is incredibly good at smashing windows, even on cars and those toughened glasses. So
I can't believe that's the real answer.
That absolutely is the real answer. They call them Ninja Stars? Ninja Rocks. Ninja Rocks is the other name,
There we go.
but that wasn't the answer we were looking for. We were looking for the use, which was smashing windows. Also would work for smashing smart plug smartphone screens.
Let's
my
just
friends.
move away from this question because it seems like you're going to trip over it every time.
Wonderful. Oh, thanks. I didn't realize we were counting. Question
was.
15,
That's my
Smarty
job.
Pants. The Hackaday logo is fondly known by which nickname? It is not
Spanner
Roundy
Jones.
Boy. It is not Skeleton Spanner Jones. It is the Jolly Wrencher. The Jolly Wrencher is the answer we were looking for, referencing the Jolly Roger, so commonly flown by pirates. Or was it? I don't know. I don't actually care. We instead are going to go into a break approximately now.
Love it.
All right, it is hot and bothered time in Hacker Trivia. It is heating up. It has been heating up all day, but I've just had word from up top from Mike. The scores are in. Things are tight at the top. It could be anyone's game with 3 questions to go in round 4. Justin, what are the scores?
The teams to watch are absolutely... I'm not going to read them all off. We have... what is it? We have 48 entries now.
Wow.
So there are some people that did just jump in on round 3. But right at the top, in equal 7th, we have on 9 points... Paul McClay, Very Quiet Bad Times Gang, Just Me and the Dog, The Orb 2, James Newton, and Team Cowfam 09. All of those on 9 points.
9 points.
Jumping up to 11 points, there is no one on 10. We have up to 11 in equal 3rd place, Nicholas Tremblay, Yes We Can, Llamas Without Hats, and I Dream in Code. And in equal 1st, there are 2 at the top on 12 points. We have Nate/myself and Sprite_TM.
Wonderful to see those titans of the hacker community at the top. It's obviously going to be a tight competition. Only 3 points left to go. So are those the only players left that can actually win?
Well, we have, it's 3 points in it. So if you're on 8 points, you're not competing for first, but you are still competing for, I guess, top 10 rank.
Absolutely, and of course, there is every chance that you could get yourself off the bottom and still beat a whole bunch of very intelligent people if you just get these 3 points. Anyone still on 0?
We have, I think, one still on 0. Rosenkrantz still on 0 at the bottom there.
Rosenkrantz, we're cheering for you. We want to see you get a point.
That's the real victory for me. I mean, yes, we have winners, and yes, I'm excited to announce those. But if Rosenkrantz gets a point, I think we all celebrate even harder than we already clearly have been.
There's a whole crowd of people. You can't hear them, but they're just in front of me off camera screaming, Rosen, Rosen. So we want to see you bring it home with at least 1 point.
What a good crowd.
Round 4, 3 questions. These questions 3. Please make sure you have the correct Google form open. The round 4 Google form, 3 questions, which will be starting with question 16. Make sure you're using the same email, please. Otherwise, we can't get your scores. All right, question 16. Famed spread spectrum inventor Heidi Lamar famously worked with which Hollywood livestock expert on the 1949 epic film Samson and Delilah? Now, Heidi Lamar, very intelligent woman, actor in the early 20th century, and she also had a role in developing a very early version of spread spectrum technology, I believe used for torpedoes, Justin.
There we go.
Yeah, basically wanted to control torpedoes without them being easily jammed. Spread spectrum technology is a great way to do that. But that's not what we're looking for today. We want to know when Heidi Lamar worked on her film Samson and Delilah in 1949, who was the Hollywood livestock expert on that film? So, look, it's a pretty easy one. I know the answer.
I think we all know the answer.
I think we all know the answer to this one.
Swiftly on.
Yeah, basically people just tapping that one straight in. But all right, moving on to...
It's an open goal.
Open goal. Easy one there for question 16. Rosenkrantz, I bet you've got that one already. Question 17. What is the branch of cryptography dedicated to hiding things in plain sight? So, for example, Justin is hiding question 17 here in plain sight behind... There we go, buddy. Thank you for that. All right, question 17. What is the branch of cryptography dedicated to hiding things in plain sight? And, my friends, what's the name for the shorthand typing that court reporters use? Now, we're looking for and blank and blank, and we want them in the correct order, otherwise you may not get the points. Tough one.
Very tough one, and we just put this one in there to make it harder on Mike, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, Christina, and the gang that are all working up there, furiously marking your scores. We absolutely thank them for running the back end.
Incredible work.
Incredible work, and quite terrifying as well, I'm told. But regardless, that is the question. What is the branch of cryptography dedicated to hiding things in plain sight? And what is the shorthand typing used by court reporters? Get them in the right order, folks. That's what we want to see there. Last question. Can I get a drum roll? Can I get some hell's bells? Can I get some kind of noise? Woo! Let's turn it up. This is the hot one. This is the last question. All right. If you need a point, I hope you get this one. If you need a win, I hope you get it. I hope you all win. You probably won't. But in fact, I know you won't. And I apologize. That's not the way quizzes work. But it's been wonderful having everyone here playing. We're really excited to see how this turns out. We hope you're all enjoying Hacker Trivia. I'm certainly enjoying Hacker Trivia.
Oh, yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, and Justin's kind of...
I'm here.
He's feeling it out. You know, he's not sure yet. But regardless...
We'll get there. We've got one more question to go.
We do have one more question. Question 18, please. Justin, the original Doctor Who theme song, made with tape loops and signal generators, because synthesizers had not yet been invented. It was arranged by which British musician? Which one? A lot of British musicians. Normani, famously not a British musician.
Don't just Google British musician. You're not going to get the answer.
Perhaps. Their 0th album was actually perhaps the Doctor Who thing. Probably wasn't. And it would be foolish for a quizmaster such as myself to give away the game. But regardless, a British musician, one of them from history, or from today, who knows, was
a mystery.
Basically the person that put together the original Doctor Who theme using tape loops and technical equipment, signal generators, because synthesizers simply did not exist. All right, so with that in, that's your time. We're gonna cut off submissions. Submissions are being cut off, so you've got about 20 seconds left to get them in. Please get your submissions in now, and shortly we will go to a break. Justin, do you think, based on the competition, who's your pick to bring it home?
Look, I know it's an underdog, and maybe this represents, my failure to understand maths, but I really think Rosencrantz has it. I think there's a really strong chance. I mean, all the other teams just have to get... the top teams need to get -9 points, but Rosencrantz could still get in there.
If you say something really, really offensive about my haircut, that's worth -9 points. So don't put that in the Google form because you might get actually beaten by Rosencrantz. But regardless, I'd love to see Rosencrantz get the clean sleep. Get a great sleep, in fact, and also a clean sweep of round 4 here. I'd love to see that. But
Shattered
we're just
spark plug. Shattered spark plug.
Shattered spark plug. Yes, we'll get the words out in the end. But regardless, with submissions now closed, we will read the answers. We will go to a short break after that, and then we will come back and tell you who won. But regardless, the answers. We ready for the answers?
I think we're closed. We have the official word from Mike. The final round is closed.
Okay, there's nothing you can do to change it now short of bursting through the door in front of me and stabbing me in the face, and that really still won't win you the quiz.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
We highly recommend you don't do that.
All right, question 16. Let's do this. The famed spread spectrum inventor Heidi Lamar worked with which Hollywood livestock expert on her 1949 film? That was obviously Bill Hurley. I could practically hear people screaming it through the window. Bill Hurley was the livestock expert that worked on Samson and Delilah. Big fan of his work myself.
Lots of Bill Hurleys in the Discord chat, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone just screaming that one. So obvious. How could you not get it?
For sure.
Question 17. What is the branch of cryptography? It is steganography. And the name for shorthand court reporter typing is stenography. Steganography, stenography. And we wanted them in that order. That was how we like to make it a little bit difficult, don't we? I tell you, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. We turn up the heat in round 4 because
this is serious stuff. I mean, you've got to make it competitive at some point. You've got to try and split that difference. Between those top.
You got to split. You got to split the hackers from the yackers. We are rapidly losing blood sugar here, people, and we are wrapping round 4 as we speak. Last question was question 18. The original Doctor Who theme song was assembled from tape loops and bits and pieces and signal generators by the incomparable Delia Derbyshire. And you can see me swaying on my feet because I just can't deal with the sheer intensity of competition that we've had today. Can you, Justin?
I'm shocked, frankly, that we have seen so many people come out and just absolutely bring their A game.
It's been tight.
It's been extremely strong, and there has been plenty of praise as well for your hosting in the chat. So I'm very happy to pass that on.
I'm glad to hear that. And if there's any harsh comments, don't pass them on at all.
Oh no, I won't.
Yeah, just put those to one side. Regardless, all right, we're going to cut to a break here to give the big team upstairs time to tot up those scores. Come back right afterwards, and we're going to wrap the first inaugural Hacker Trivia and crown our Hacker Trivia champion. Hacker Trivia champion. Let's have the break.
Let's go.
Thank you. Wonderful. And we are back, and the scores are in Hacker Trivia. The first inaugural, it is here, it is done, and we are ready to crown a winner. Justin, can you maybe bring us up the scores, tell us what's happened across the board, and then at the end we will hear our Hacker Champion.
I mean, it has been what a competitive field today. We have a total of 50 entries
They're flooding in.
by the final round, and I'm sad to say that the 50th of them is still Rosencrantz with 0 points.
Our heart goes out to you, Rosencrantz. Next year is your year, my friend. Rosencrantz, we're all pulling for you.
Then we have now I think there may be excuse me, there may be one team that hasn't been putting in the same email address across different things, so we might hear their name a couple of times. But in equal 46th place,
Hell of a place.
we have, on 1 point, name is undefined, Super Duper Hooper Trooper, Robot Overlord, and Dub G.
Wonderful job from those people. Glad they got a point in at the end.
I'm very excited for them. In equal 37th place, on 2 points apiece, we have Minard, Boris, Michael K, Desus, Toddbot, Haxwell, $15 Cheese Plate, Pseudo Legit, and Nathan Cohagen. In equal 35th place, just 2 entries on 3 points each, Mr. and Mrs. Short Fat Bald Guy, and name is undefined.
Okay, so that's 3 people, actually.
Oh yes, I suppose
Got it.
the family, the husband and wife we have there.
Yeah.
Then, in equal 30th, on 4 points apiece, we have Inner, Lost Cause, Neb K, Flummer, and MLP.
Lovely to see those people hanging in there, still picking up points wherever they could. Really great stuff.
On 5 points each, in equal 27th, we have DWC, Hell Dogify, and Jackalope Army. In equal 24th, on 6 each, we have iShot Jr., Salek, Bit Looney, and Friend. In equal 22nd place, on 7 points each, we have Kenny Trussell and Robert Drop Table.
Robert.
I'm only reading it as Robert Drop Table at this point.
Appreciate your work, and I would love to say to everyone so far, this is not meant to be an easy quiz. If you've got any points at all, that's hard earned. And also, even if you haven't got any points, well done to you for playing.
I think I would have got 1.
Yeah,
I got a solid 1.
I would have got many, but I wrote most of the questions.
That's very fair.
All right, so we're moving on to the top now.
Yeah, we're right at the top. Equal 18th. We have on 8 points each Rejigger or Rejigger, Waffle Human, Very Jaded, Drew Alden. Then on equal 13th place with 9 points apiece, we have Randy Glenn, Paul McClay, Very Quiet Bad Times Gang, Type 11 Error, and that thing in Morse code. I don't know what it is in Morse code. I'm sure Morse code team, you know who you are. Luckily, there aren't multiple Morse code competitors.
That would have been excruciating.
Then on 10 points apiece in equal 8th place, we have Just Me and the Dog, Dub G, who also got a point lower down, so possibly that is actually 11. James Newton, Team Calfam 09, and Horrible Newbie.
I'm not doing that horribly.
No, not too horrible. 10 points is absolutely nothing to scoff at. 11 points apiece, moving swiftly on to 6th place. Nicholas Tremblay and the Orb 2.
Well done. Love to contemplate my orb when I have it on hand.
On equal 12 points, in 4th place, Llamas Without Hats and I Dream in Code. And then we come down to the final 3.
Final 3.
It's
the podium
so
places.
exciting at the top.
Okay.
We have 1 team in 1st place and 2 teams in equal 2nd place. We have 1 team on 14 points and 2 teams on 13 points.
I'm on 10 hooks over here. You can't see them. They're just
18.
out of touch.
We have on equal 13 points Nate / myself and Sprite _TM, which means the winners of the Hacker Trivia Quiz with a full 14 points. Yes, we can!
Yes, we can! Let's have some applause in the studio for that wonderful effort. Amazing to see the contest through 4 rounds. No one gave up. Whether you were on 0 points or 14 at the end, everyone tried hard. In the end, I mean, that's a pretty clean sweep. That's hard-earned to get only 4 questions wrong across what were some ridiculously difficult questions. You know, obviously the Bill Hurley one was in there for everyone. That was
a gimme, but I mean, 14 was the highest score out of 18, so that kind of shows you how difficult this quiz was, really.
Absolutely. Super tight competition. I've got to say, very proud to present it. Wonderful to have you on, Justin.
And thank you so much for joining. This is incredible. I'm truly so impressed by the turnout. It's so cool.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Justin, for joining me. I'd like to say thank you to Mike and Christina and the Hackaday gang for scoring in the back end. I've been your host, Lewin Day, and we'd now like to direct you to the Bring a Hack stream, which is starting now. If you don't have the link, it's in the Remoticon Discord, so feel free to head there, bring your hacks, get involved. But I'd just like to say one more time, thank you all for attending the inaugural Hackaday Hacker Trivia. I've been your host, Lewin Day. Thank you and good night.